What do we have here? Let me give it a little sniff and see if I can sniff it out. Yep, I smell the distinct odor of Chinesium. So, this is a package, I think, directly from China. I had to go through, where did it go through? Campbell Boulevard, Inglewood, Georgia. Interesting. Okay, that's weird. Usually they come through California. Let's see what we got here. Wait, it's two things? Oh, wow, this is like a 2-for-1. Okay. All right. All right, so thing number one. And this 2-for-1. Okay, it's a little tiny guy. I don't remember buying a little tiny guy. Oh, okay, yeah, this is super cheap. Little, I don't know if it's a knockoff of something or if it's an original, but I thought it was a neat little design. I didn't realize it was quite this small. It's a little tiny guy, but, oh, no, you can, oh, ooh, wow. Oof. Oofa. Wow. The bearings feel like they're bumping along. That's not great. Let me see if I can loosen up that pivot. All right, we're just going to set that one to the side. Let's open up this one and see if it's not over-tightened to where it doesn't actually, the blade doesn't hardly move like the other one. Maybe it'll be a little better. That'd be cool. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. I think this is a Tucson. Well, it looks just like a Tucson. This is a Tucson that it's either a copy of or it's the, unbranded version of. I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but this is a TS21, which, is basically just that knife, but with Tucson on it, maybe a couple other detail changes. Better pocket clip, I think. It looks like a CH knife, too. There's a CH version. Just a slight difference near the cutout around the lock area. And it's also over-tightened. The bearings are over-tightened also. So I'm going to go get a tool to adjust the bearings and see if it's going to be any better. All right, let's see. Are they over-tightened or are they just really badly made? Okay, that's pretty tight. Maybe this side, let's see. Uh-oh. I don't know if I can untighten it because it's a spinning pivot and it has two. Ugh. You need two tools to undo it. Yeah, that's tight. Maybe this one will loosen. Looks like it also has two tool holes, one on each side for the Torx bit, and probably will just spin. Oh, maybe not. Okay, come on, baby. Shit, what? Okay. This one has a D-shaped pivot, it seems like. This one's not spinning on this side, and it's actually turning on this side, so I loosened it up some. Let's see. Wow, that's got hardly any play. Tiny bit of play. I think they just over-tighten them at the factory. I don't know. Wow, still feels lumpy inside. Let's see if I open this all the way. Wow, the bearings just feel like they've dented the bearing tracks. I can feel like dents all along the bearing track. But at least it opens now, so that's good. Boy, these are some interesting knives. I think this is titanium, which, that's nice. It's not, doesn't have any weight relief inside. I thought maybe they were steel for a second because they were so heavy, but there's no weight relief inside, so they're just chunks of titanium that, yeah, it's got a nice little access to the thumb hole there. I thought these were thumb studs, but yeah, I guess they're kind of thumb studs, but really they're just the stops. They're the stop pins, so the blade stops by oh wait, no, yeah, okay, yeah. The blade stops by hitting there. I think on the closed, though, it stops by hitting that pin. Let's see. Yep, so it stops by hitting right there on the blade. On that little skinny pin inside there. That pin is too skinny, but I mean, it's a small knife, so. But it's a big, thick chunker for how small it is. Look at this Damn Designs Hades. Yeah, I'd say they're, hell, the little guy might be a hair thicker in the blade than the Hades. It's definitely a little chunky tank. Yeah, I was not aware that it was going to be quite that tiny, diminutive. I wish it was, a bit bigger and didn't have dented bearing tracks. Boy, that feels terrible. Let's get this thing apart. Let's go ahead and take it all the way apart and see. Oops, nope, that side doesn't move. Let's get this guy out of the way. Since I can't get him to turn, I'll need another tool. I'll need another T8 to get that one to move. Let's take this guy apart and see how bad, if it is bad, the bearing tracks are. Sometimes, every once in a while, ooh, look at that, that's kind of neat. Pretty little standoff there, kind of a brassy colored guy. Every once in a while, you get one that has a dented track where the bearings go, and you can sort of fix it by flipping it over. Now the only problem is sometimes the dents are on the blade, and if the dents are on the blade, flipping it over, you can't flip the blade over, it just has dents on the blade, and that's it. So, boy, this guy is on there pretty tight. I think it's just that screw and the regular pivot screw, but I'm almost having to pry it to get it. There we go. All right, so let's look at this bearing track. Doesn't look too bad. I can see some spots on it, but those just look like oil spots. Well, maybe not. Maybe those are dents. Let's get that. See, the way the bearings usually work is if it's a titanium frame, they ride on a little steel washer, basically, because the bearings would wear out the titanium really quickly. Titanium is strong, but, whoopsie, flew it out of there. It's strong, but abrades easily. So it has, good physical strength, but will wear easily. It may just be gunked up. It'd be nice if it just was gunked up. Let me find something to clean it with.
Did you cut yourself?
Me, no. Not more than normal.
I'm so sorry. Are you able to pause for a second so I can grab some chips and dip?
Just go grab your chips and dip. Good Lord.
I've been waiting.
Ouch!
See, now you cut yourself. Did you cut yourself?
Yeah,
How bad?
not bad.
It must have been pretty bad because he wouldn't got a paper towel and alcohol.
No, honey,
He got that to clean the knife off. He just happened to have it. He just cut himself as he was cleaning it. It's like a paper cut.
No, I didn't cut myself at all.
Oh, what did you do?
I touched alcohol on an old cut that was on my hand.
Alcohol on an old cut. It's completely fine.
Now, could you guys stop interrupting my video? Thank you. Love you guys. Love you so much. Love ya. Right. Right. When you're right, you're right. So I'm videoing in my kitchen, and I'm interrupting the flow of midnight snacks going on right now for no apparent reason.
It's because it's my birthday.
It's her birthday, so that's the way it goes. So that's a little nicer. The bearings are pretty nice looking, although they're stainless steel bearings, not ceramic. So the nicer bearings are typically ceramic, and we've gotten these days to where even fairly cheap knives have ceramic bearings. But there's nothing wrong with the steel ones as long as they don't get dented, which these might be dented. I don't know, since they definitely feel bumpy. I was hoping maybe the bumpiness was just gunk. I'm not sure. If you look at this side, that's where the track was, and I think I see some little dents in there. They're not too bad. And it also might be just the bearings are actually flattened on sides, so we'll see. And then there's their dents in the blade. That's another question, because the blade, if it's a softer steel, which cheap knives can have a soft steel on the blade, you could actually have dents in that track where the bearings ride. And basically it would mean that they put the knife together and then over-tighten the pivot to the point where the bearings smashed into the steel enough to dent it. But look at that little heat mark right there where they ground that face that hits up against the lock bar. The lock bar locks up against the blade just like this, like that, and they basically cut it to match that lock bar so that the lock bar hits it perfectly. And sometimes they cut it maybe a little bit too fast, and you can see where the steel's burned right there. That's what it looks like when you overheat steel. Now that doesn't affect the whole blade. It just, that little part right there is a little softer than it should be, probably. Now that's not a great part to be softer. You don't really want the part of your blade that locks up to be softer, because then it's going to wear there, and then the lockup will change over time as the blade wears from the lock being up against it. But you don't know. Who knows? Might have only burned it a tiny bit on the edge, and maybe the whole lock face where it touches there will be fine. And also, it was like $35, so you know, it's not like I'm going to use it 10,000 times. But it doesn't look like it's too dented up, does it? Do you see any dents in there? Maybe a couple right there. Yeah, there might be a couple dents there. To get it in the right light, not the light right. Yeah, I can't tell for sure. Why don't you analyze that, Richard, and tell me if you see any dents in the steel there? Because I can't tell. Maybe zoom in a little bit and use some kind of a filter.
Multiple semi-spherical deformations along bearing track, here, and there.
Well, that sucks, but what are you going to do? All right, let's, okay, we got the bearings cleaned up. Let's see, what's holding this pivot from spinning? Boy, it's basically stuck in here. Maybe that's what's holding it from spinning, just the fact that it's stuck. I can't get the bearings even to come off. Okay, so the bearings are either gunked up or the size of the bearings is so close to the size of the pivot barrel that they aren't moving on it very easily, which that could cause it to be sloppy, or not sloppy, the other way around, too tight, which is what it felt like. It feels like it's too tight and it has little bumps in it, so it's hard to tell if it's the bumps are making it too tight, if there's dents in it, we don't know. Oh shoot, what? I don't see the other washer. Where'd the other washer go? Oh, it's still in there. Okay, so this is the other washer. Let's see if I can get it out. Okay, I got the pivot to come out. And okay, it's not a D-shaped pivot at all. So the only thing that was holding it from spinning was the fact that it's just kind of tight. So that's interesting. Oopsie, something just fell down. I don't know where it went. I hate it when that happens. What the heck was it anyway? Was it the washer? Yeah, it was the washer. So I'm looking for a little washer. Oh, thank you. All right. I get by with a little help from my friends. So we found the washer. It was rolling around on the floor, trying to escape. No escape. Now, does it have dents on it? Let's see. Zoom in, analyze.
No need to analyze. You bought a $40 titanium knife from China. Of course it has bearing dents.
Luckily, we can just flip it over. So we'll get rid of the dents by just flipping it over if it has dents. All right, let's just clean it up and get it back together and see if it is miraculously cured of being a piece of crap. Because it might be. It might have just been, dirty. And then also, if the bearing tracks were dented on those washers, then now we will flip them over to the fresh side. Boy, it's interesting how much of a track was put into the washer already from only a little bit of use. So once we flip it over, it should be better. Let's see, I think the pivot, we need to clean the pivot off too. All right, I'm going to pause because I'm going to go grab some oil. Some actual oil, not this stuff they put on it that's like a grease that gets hard. I don't really understand why they would do something like that, but it's like the gunk that they put on AK-47s to keep them from rusting. All right, be right back. All right, so I got a little oil here. This is some, they call it super lube. You can get it on Amazon for, I don't know, $5-6, something like that. And it's really good lube to me. It's synthetic, they call it multi-use synthetic oil with something, I don't know. It's like fancy oil that's cheap. Seems to work pretty well. All right, so I'm going to put the pivot through this side. I don't remember which side it was through before, but I'll put it through this side. And whoops, there goes the washer, fell out. Yeah, I think it was through this side before because I had to fight it to get it out, if I remember right. Okay, I'm going to put my glasses on and make sure I'm putting the side of the washer that hasn't been used yet, whatever the smoothest side is. And there were some little tiny dents in it, so it did have a few dents. So we'll put a little bit of oil right on the bearings, just a drop on each side basically, and kind of rub it around. I'm going to drop it on. And no, it's not too tight around the barrel. I thought it might have been, but it's not. All right, and then we're going to take the blade and put it on. Okay, and then we take the other bearing and put a drop of oil on it. And you especially want to oil your bearings if they're steel like these. The way you can tell that they're steel is that they're shiny silver. If your bearings are a shiny silver, that's steel. If they're sort of a dull grayish color, then they're ceramic. And they won't rust. So, you know, if they're in a... No, even the race is not going to rust because usually it's like brass or something. So, ceramic bearings are pretty rust-free. Let's see. Okay, yep, we're putting this guy right here. And that is the fresh side. All right, and now we're going to put this guy on here. We're going to make sure that pin lines up over here. Well, actually, we'll just make sure this guy lines up on here. And the pin can fend for itself, find its own way home there. Let's see, come on. That was a weird noise. Nothing fell on my end here, but okay. I think we got it all lined. Whoop, nope. Thought I had it lined up. I thought I had that pin in there, but okay. The blade is fighting with me. Okay, now we are getting ready. Okay, it's almost together, but this last little bit down here, the standoff won't go into its little nest for some reason. It feels like everything's lined up right, but weird. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the pivot in, get it started, and then see if we can line the other parts up. I mean, it's not the highest quality, so I'm not super surprised that it's not coming together perfectly, you know, easy. It's weird though, everything is being a little weird. Did I over tighten it? What the hell? I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Definitely something weird. Okay, well, let's put this other screw back in. I don't know, it almost feels like I put something in backwards or something. Oh, no, now it feels okay. Well, that was weird. It felt like there was a lot of, I don't know, angle friction going on. A little cut right there. I don't know, let's tighten it up. Okay, a little tiny bit more. Where the detent feels pretty good. Boy, that is almost perfectly tight. Oh, looks like it's actually centered too. Huh. Okay. Ooh, that feels way better. Look at that, huh? Boy, that detent is actually really nice. I was expecting like some detent play there, but no, it's very nice. No detent, or no, sorry. Yeah, I was expecting some detent lash, but no, no detent lash. Blade is nicely sharp. That's funny, they sharpened it right down to there and didn't go too far and end up down on that part and end up with a big smile on the sharpening. Boy, it's like they almost cared when they sharpened it and didn't want to make it look like shit. Interesting, harpoonish, kind of short little stubby harpoon blade. Overall, I like the shape of it and kind of the look of it. I kind of like that. It's neat. Boy, it's not a bad little knife. Especially now that it's not all bumpy. The bumpiness is totally gone now. Yeah, 95% gone. Maybe I feel a tiny bit of it still. Probably had some couple of dents on the blade itself that will never be gone. I'm going to give it a tiny bit more of a tighten. Still has a tiny bit of play. Boy, that's not a bad little opening. Let's see, can you open it with the thumb studs that are not thumb studs? Yeah, you can. Can you reverse flick it with the thumb stud thing? No, but you can reverse flick it just fine with the little bean hole, thumb hole dealy. I'm going to try tighten it just a hair more and totally get rid of the, because there's a tiny bit of play still. Yeah, still a tiny bit. I keep adjusting it and it keeps having play. It's weird. Okay, it's gone now. No play. Okay, I don't hate it. It's a neat little knife. Boy, that is not a bad little knife. The pocket clip is huge compared to the rest of the knife. Boy, I wonder if I could get a deep carry of some kind to fit into there. That'd be kind of nice, because right now it's kind of weird. Let's see. Oof, that is strong. That is a strong little pocket clip. I will, if I can find the seller on eBay, if they have any more of them, I'll post up. I'm going to try it in my pocket here. I'll post up the link to it, because after a little fixing, you know, that's not bad. That's not a bad clip, really. After a little fixing, it's kind of a neat little knife. Is it the sliciest knife? No. It's got a decent little flat grind. I think it's a machine satin, I guess you would call it. But it's actually kind of sharp. Let's see, here's the little bag it came in. Yeah, it's actually got some sharpness to it. I mean, it's not dull. It will cut you. And it's not thin behind the edge. It's a little thick behind the edge. So it's a, you know, it's supposed to be a utility, you know, a working knife. It's got a nice little sound to it when it opens. Oh, that's sad.
Womp, womp, womp.
Wow. Listen to that lock rock. That's too bad. It does have a steel insert in the lock bar, which I can adjust. So I can take that lock insert out and adjust it. What I do is I take it out. I have to take the whole thing back apart again. I take it out and I put a little piece of wire behind the back of it and then tighten it back in. And then that pushes the lock insert forward a bit, which makes it interact with the blade at an earlier spot. Like it hits the blade here instead of there. If you can see the difference. Like right now it's trying to go to here and it's not even locking up with the blade because it actually needs to go in further, like to there to lock up with the blade. Now it's actually locked up. And if I can actually bend the lock bar so that it wants to go all the way over, but that'll be so far over. It's like 99% lockup. That's crap. It needs to be locked up, you know, here. So if you push this insert up some, it'll lock up earlier. And you can do that by putting a little piece of wire behind it. So maybe we'll show you how to do that.
So I videoed putting the little piece of aluminum foil, folded foil, behind the lock bar insert, but it came out like crap. So we'll just look at this one from a different knife. This is a ZT knife. And what I did was I pulled out the lock bar insert. That's this piece here. You just pull a screw out and then pull it up and off and out of its little cutout. And then I took a little small piece of aluminum foil and put it right here so that when the insert goes back in, it's shoved forward just a little bit. And then its interaction point with the tang of the blade right here is pushed forward so that the lock bar interacts with that blade earlier as it's moving toward the center of the knife. And that took away the lock rock.
So that's what I did, and that's why it doesn't have any lock rock anymore. It works perfectly. You can't, I don't think you can see the aluminum sticking up, but a little tiny bit kind of shows at the back edge of the lock bar insert there. You can kind of just see it. I didn't quite make it exactly the right size. I should have made it a little thinner so it never showed out the edge there. But, it's hard to notice, really. Doesn't really stick up much, just kind of shows right at the edge. But the action is definitely a little better. You can still feel a little bit of bumpiness in it because those dents on the blade, there's nothing you can do about those. I mean, I could resurface them out somehow by sanding and sanding, but yeah, no, I'm not doing all that. I don't know if you can see that, but or notice it, but I moved the harpoon bit, the harpoon tip, I guess you could say, forward a little bit here. It used to be right here, kind of like right here-ish. I cut it down and move it forward a little bit just because, I don't know, it looked a little fat and weird. Now it looks a little more harpoony and pointy. Oh, and I tumbled the titanium frames a little bit in a tumbler just to kind of, I have just got the tumbler and just kind of trying it out. Some random rocks as medium and sand. So I think it came out pretty good. You can see it's a little more on the edges, kind of like a, I don't know, like a worn look. Oh, and I modified the pocket clip, cut a little bit of it off, reshaped it, and then gave it a little color with heat. So definitely works a little better now, and sounds better, and looks better. I could put a little curve to it. It was like a straight shape, big rectangle shape kind of. Now it kind of has a little curve to it that kind of matches the curve of the body of the knife a little better. Yeah, so this might be a giveaway knife. It's just a little bit too small for me. Although, oh, I also modded this part up here, got rid of that little funky hump, and gave it like a second little choil here, I guess, basically. You can move your finger up on it and use it pretty well. I don't think I changed the actual beginning of the edge at all. That's exactly where the beginning of the edge was. It went down and then back up into a little hump. Let's see, I'll show what it looked like before, up above. So anyway, we got these two guys, both little eBay finds that I don't necessarily recommend unless you want to get them to mess with and mod, you know. They're good for that. But if you want a nice knife, like say, oh, I want my first titanium knife, I want to buy like a nice cheap one to check it out and see how that goes. These aren't the ones you want. You want something like Tucson or something like that. So anyway, the little chunky tank and I think it's a CH copy. I mean, but there's a Tucson that looks just like it too. I'll show that up here, the Tucson, and I'll say what Tucson name it is if I didn't already. Well, I will anyway, either way. This guy might be a copy of something. If you recognize this as a clone of something, let me know down in the comments, because I don't know if it is. It might be, or it might be. My guess was it was kind of a conglomeration of different, upper end knives that they copied parts of and put together into one kind of thing. Anyway, have a nice day.